Every morning, long before sunrise, hundreds of trucks begin collecting one of the world's most valuable crops. The journey of sugar begins here. Hydraulic loaders lift massive bundles of freshly harvested sugarcane in a matter of seconds. Every movement is perfectly timed. 30 tons of cane per truck, the maximum weight allowed on public roads. Each load contains enough raw material to produce nearly 4 tons of refined sugar. White gold hidden inside green stalks. The race against time has already begun. Once harvested, sugarcane has only 16 hours before it begins losing its natural sweetness. Every minute counts. Convoys leave the fields every 20 minutes. A perfectly synchronized logistics operation keeps the factory supplied around the clock. 50 kilometers separate the plantations from their destination. Every delay means less recoverable sugar. On the horizon, the Dulce Tierra sugar mill comes into view. A mega factory that never sleeps. This is where the cane will surrender its hidden treasure. Every day, the mill processes more than 10 tons of sugarcane, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without stopping. Every truck is weighed before entering. Its weight determines how much the farmer will be paid. The traffic light turns green. The truck moves toward the unloading station. Precision is everything. Not a single stalk can be wasted. 30 tons of sugarcane are unloaded in less than a minute. The receiving pit quickly fills with towering piles of fresh cane, enough to keep the factory operating day and night. 15-ton overhead cranes never stop moving. They lift the cane continuously from the pit. The flow must never stop. Massive conveyor belts transport more than 2 tons of cane every hour deep into the factory. The cane has entered the heart of the mill. Only now does its real transformation begin. Inside this enormous facility, every stalk will travel through dozens of industrial processes before becoming the white sugar found on supermarket shelves. The first stage is cleaning. Soil, leaves, stones, everything that doesn't belong must be removed. High-pressure water jets blast away the dirt clinging to every stalk. The cane emerges completely clean, ready for the next stage. The billets disappear into the shredder. Seconds later, they are unrecognizable. Massive steel hammers rotate at nearly 1 revolutions per minute. Every piece of cane is pulverized in fractions of a second. What was once a solid stalk becomes a tangled mass of fibers soaked in sweet juice. But the preparation is not finished. A second operation separates the fibers even further. Powerful steel rollers crush the shredded cane, breaking millions of microscopic plant cells. For the first time, droplets of juice begin to appear. The hidden treasure inside the cane is finally revealed. The prepared fiber moves toward the milling station. There, it will surrender every last drop of juice. High above the production floor, operators monitor every stage from a centralized control room. Nothing is left to chance. Every machine, every conveyor, every motor, every variable is monitored in real time. Even the shredders automatically adjust their speed depending on the quality of each batch of cane. The prepared fiber finally reaches the extraction area. 6 gigantic roller mills are waiting, each one designed to squeeze every possible drop of juice from the cane. When the extraction is complete, only one material remains: bagasse, a completely dry fiber. Most factories would consider it waste. Here it becomes one of the plant's most valuable resources. The bagasse is transported directly to the boiler house. Nothing is wasted inside this factory. The dry fiber becomes fuel. Huge boilers consume the bagasse continuously. 1 ton of fiber produces enough steam to process nearly 3 tons of fresh sugarcane. High-pressure steam races through pipelines across the entire facility. This energy powers every stage of production. Steam turbines convert that energy into electricity. The sugar mill becomes completely self-sufficient. Every motor, every conveyor, every light, every control system, powered by the sugarcane itself. Meanwhile, all the extracted juice flows toward a single destination. More than 100 liters every hour collect inside the main storage tank. Raw sugar juice, ready for purification. At this stage, it looks nothing like sugar. The liquid is dark, cloudy, filled with soil, waxes, plant material, and countless microscopic impurities. From the control room, engineers monitor every process simultaneously. Extraction, steam production, electricity generation, everything displayed in real time. Extraction efficiency reaches 96%, zero dependence on external electricity, maximum efficiency. The raw juice now moves toward the clarification system. The next stage will remove every unwanted impurity. Its transformation is about to begin. The raw juice enters the treatment tanks. Its transformation is about to begin. At this stage, the liquid looks nothing like the sugar people know. Dark, cloudy, filled with microscopic particles, waxes, fibers, minerals, and countless impurities collected during harvesting and extraction. To remove them, the process relies on chemistry. Milk of lime is added to the juice. A carefully controlled chemical treatment begins. The lime binds to suspended impurities, preparing them for removal. The juice moves into the clarification area, one of the most important stages in the entire factory. Here, a dark and muddy liquid will become something completely different. The juice is heated to 90 degrees Celsius. The temperature activates the chemical reactions. Slowly, impurities begin clumping together. Tiny particles merge into larger masses. The process is invisible to the naked eye. But inside the tanks, millions of reactions are taking place every second. Chemistry is cleaning the juice. The mixture enters a gigantic clarifier, a vessel where gravity takes control. No moving parts, no filters, just time and physics. The heavy impurities slowly sink to the bottom. The clean juice rises to the top. Hour after hour, the separation continues. Then the transformation becomes visible. The dark liquid begins to change color. The cloudy appearance disappears. The juice emerges golden, clear, bright, almost translucent. A remarkable transformation. What entered looking like muddy water now resembles liquid gold. At the bottom of the clarifier, the waste material collects, known as filter mud. Every impurity removed from the juice ends up here. Even this material is not wasted. It will later become agricultural fertilizer. Nothing leaves the factory unused. The clarified juice now continues toward the evaporation station. Its next challenge is removing water. A lot of water. The juice enters a series of 5 evaporators connected in sequence. Each one concentrates the liquid further, step by step. The first evaporator operates at temperatures above 110 degrees Celsius. Water begins escaping as steam. The juice becomes thicker, more concentrated. The second evaporator uses steam recovered from the first. The third uses energy recovered from the second. Every calorie is reused. Every unit of energy matters. This cascading system dramatically reduces energy consumption. The water keeps leaving. The sugar stays behind. The liquid becomes denser, darker, richer. What began as a thin juice slowly transforms into syrup, then thicker syrup, and finally, molasses-like liquor, known inside the factory as thick syrup, containing nearly 65% sugar. The concentration stage is complete. The liquid now moves toward the most fascinating part of the entire process, crystallization. The vacuum pans, massive vessels where liquid sugar becomes solid crystals. This is where the magic happens. The thick syrup enters the vacuum pan. Powerful pumps remove the air inside. Lower pressure changes everything. Instead of boiling at 100 degrees Celsius, the syrup now boils at only 65 degrees. The sugar is protected. No burning, no caramelization, only concentration. The operator watches carefully. Experience matters here. Timing matters. Then comes the seeding stage. Microscopic sugar crystals are introduced into the syrup. Tiny seeds, future crystals. Each one becomes a foundation for growth. Slowly, sugar molecules begin attaching themselves to the seeds. The first crystals appear, small, brilliant, almost invisible, tiny diamonds suspended in liquid. The operator monitors their growth continuously. Too small, and the product loses value. Too large, and the process becomes unstable. The perfect crystal requires precision, patience, and experience. Millions of crystals grow simultaneously. Every second they become larger. Every second they become more valuable. Inside the pan, an entire world of crystal formation is taking place. The masic wheat is ready, a thick mixture of syrup and sugar crystals. The batch is discharged. Tons of crystallized sugar begin flowing toward the next stage. A river of dense golden mass moves through the factory. Inside it travel millions upon millions of perfectly formed sugar crystals. The crystallizers take over, large cooling vessels where growth continues. Slowly, carefully, temperature drops little by little. As the mixture cools, the crystals continue expanding. Paddles rotate continuously for hours, maintaining perfect conditions, maximizing crystal size. Maximizing yield, nothing is left to chance. The remaining syrup moves on to a second crystallization stage, then a third. Each stage extracts more sugar, recovering every possible crystal, every possible gram. 3 separate crystallization stages, 1 goal, 0 waste. Eventually, only molasses remains. Dark, dense, rich, containing no recoverable sugar. But even now, the process is not finished. The molasses will become raw material for alcohol production, animal feed, and other industrial products. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is thrown away. The sugar crystals continue their journey. Now it is time for separation. The centrifuges are waiting. The centrifuges are waiting. Massive machines designed to separate sugar crystals from molasses using pure centrifugal force. The massacute enters the spinning drum. At this stage, crystals and syrup are still completely mixed together. The drum begins to accelerate. Faster and faster. Within seconds, it reaches full operating speed. The force inside becomes immense. The heavy liquid molasses is pushed outward through a fine metal screen. The sugar crystals remain trapped inside. The separation happens in moments. A process that once took hours now takes only seconds. Jets of hot water spray the crystals, washing away every remaining trace of molasses. Every crystal must be perfectly clean. Every crystal must meet the highest standards. The centrifuge begins to slow. The drum. Inside remains a brilliant layer of pure white sugar. The transformation is extraordinary. Only minutes ago, it was part of a thick brown syrup. Now it looks like the sugar found in kitchens around the world. The crystals fall onto conveyor belts below. Bright, white, pure, but still wet. The journey is not over. The moisture must be removed. The sugar moves toward the rotary dryer. A giant rotating drum where hot air completes the drying process. Inside the dryer, the crystals tumble continuously, falling, rising, falling again. Hot air flows through the drum, removing the last traces of moisture. Every crystal becomes drier, cleaner, brighter. The transformation continues. The sugar exits the dryer sparkling under the factory lights, dry, free-flowing, ready for inspection. Before packaging can begin, every batch must pass a final series of tests. The Quality Control Laboratory, one of the most important departments in the entire factory. Here, every crystal is evaluated, every parameter measured, every standard verified. Nothing reaches consumers without approval. Technicians collect samples from each production batch. The first test measures color. A colorimeter determines purity. The lower the reading, the whiter the sugar. The whiter the sugar, the higher its quality. The results appear on the screen. 99.8% purity. Approved. Additional tests verify moisture content, crystal size, chemical composition, and overall consistency. Everything meets specification. The batch receives approval. The sugar is ready for packaging. Thousands of tons are transferred into giant storage silos. waiting, ready for shipment. From the silos, the sugar flows toward fully automated packaging lines. The speed is astonishing. 1 kilogram bags move into position, filled with precision, sealed instantly. More than 100 bags every minute. Every package receives a production date, a batch code, and complete traceability. Every bag can be traced back to the exact day it was produced. Different packaging lines prepare different products. 1 kilogram bags for households, 5 kilogram bags for larger families, 50 kilogram sacks for bakeries, restaurants, and industrial customers. Robotic arms take over, stacking packages with perfect accuracy, layer after layer, pallet after pallet, without mistakes, without fatigue. The finished pallets are wrapped in protective film, ready for transport, ready for the journey ahead. Inside the warehouse, thousands of pallets wait, enough sugar to supply entire cities. Forklifts move continuously between aisles, loading trucks day and night. The distribution fleet never stops. Truck after truck leaves the factory, each carrying a portion of the harvest, each heading toward a different destination: supermarkets, restaurants, food manufacturers, homes. The trucks travel hundreds of kilometers, crossing highways, cities, and entire regions. The journey that began in the sugarcane fields is almost complete. Eventually, the trucks arrive. The unloading begins. Within hours, the sugar takes its place on supermarket shelves, perfectly aligned, waiting. The final stage of the process, the consumer. A hand reaches toward the shelf. A bag is selected. The chain is complete. A journey that began in a field of sugarcane has reached its destination. The sugar enters a home, a kitchen, a family table. From field to cup, from sunlight to sweetness, thousands of kilometers, hundreds of industrial processes, countless machines, all working together to sweeten a single moment. This is how sugar is really made.